Have you ever felt the weight of someone's envious gaze behind you? Have you ever perceived the negative energy of an environment or a person, like a suffocating blanket that prevents you from breathing freely? What if I told you that there is an ancient ritual passed down over the centuries by the monks of a temple lost in the mountains, capable of freeing you from these negative influences and giving you back the power over your life? If your answer is yes, then prepare to listen to an extraordinary story, a story of transformation and inner awakening. A story that will lead you through snowy paths and ancient forests to the heart of a temple hidden in the mountains, where a wise monk will reveal the secret to dissolve energy blocks and find serenity. If you stay until the end of this story, you will discover not only how to perform this ritual, but also how to tap into the strength that resides within you to create the life you have always wanted. Prepare yourself for a journey that will forever change the way you see the world and yourself. But before continuing, if you are not one of us yet, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to stay updated when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. The winter sun, pale and fleeting, illuminated with slanting rays the mountain path that wound between the ancient trees. The snow, which had fallen incessantly for days, had transformed the landscape into an enchanted kingdom of white and silence. Every branch, every leaf, every rock was wrapped in a soft crystalline blanket, which sparkled like a myriad of diamonds under the weak rays of the sun. In this scenario of motionless beauty, a group of pilgrims advanced with difficulty, leaving behind them a trail of footprints that the icy wind quickly erased. Guided by an unshakable faith and a deep desire for knowledge, they headed towards the mountain temple, home of the venerable monk Tetsuzan, guardian of ancient secrets and master of wisdom. Their journey had begun long ago, not only in terms of physical distance, but also of an inner journey that had led them to face their fears, their insecurities, their deepest pains. There was Hannah, the young weaver, her heart wounded by unrequited love and tormented by an anxiety that prevented her from enjoying the beauty of life. There was Kenzo, the once prosperous merchant, now on the verge of ruin due to a series of unfortunate speculations. His forehead was furrowed by deep wrinkles of worry, and his once lively eyes were dulled by the weight of despair. And then there was Yumi, the young widow, who was mourning not only the loss of her husband, but also the loneliness and uncertainty of the future. Her face, framed by long raven hair, expressed a deep sadness and a fragility that was touching. The temple, perched on a steep rocky promontory, seemed to emerge from the snow like a mystical apparition. Its stark walls, worn by time and weather, held an atmosphere of sacredness and mystery. Inside, the air was thick with incense and silence. The dim light of the paper lanterns created shadows on the walls, decorated with frescoes depicting scenes from the life of the Buddha. In the center of the room, sitting cross-legged on a meditation cushion, Tetsuzan awaited them. The monk, with his long white beard and his wise and penetrating eyes, emanated an aura of peace and serenity that enveloped the pilgrims like a regenerating balm. "Welcome," he said in a calm and melodic voice. "You have come here through a long and tiring journey, but I know that your search is animated by a sincere thirst for knowledge and liberation." The pilgrims bowed reverently, grateful for the master's welcome. Tetsuzin invited them to sit around him and began to talk about the ritual of the salt in the freezer. This ancient ritual, she explained, is a powerful tool for purification and protection. Salt, a natural element rich in energy, has the ability to absorb negative vibrations and restore energetic balance. By putting salt in the freezer, he continued, we symbolize our desire to freeze, to neutralize the dark forces that surround us and that try to influence our lives. We can write on a piece of paper the names of the people who have hurt us, of the situations that cause us anxiety and worry, of everything we want to let go of. Tetsuzin stressed the importance of intention and awareness in performing the ritual. This is not superstitious magic, he said, but an act of personal power, a way to regain control of one's life and create the conditions for positive transformation. Remember, she added, that real change happens within us. The salt ritual is a tool, but the real strength lies in your will, in your ability to let go of the past, to forgive, to open yourself to the new. The pilgrims listened with rapture to the Master's words, feeling a new hope light up in their hearts. Tetsuzin then guided them in the preparation of the ritual, showing them how to write the names on slips of paper, how to fill the containers with salt, and how to pronounce the words of power. Hannah wrote with a shaking hand the name of the person who had broken her heart, visualizing her pain cooling and dissolving like snow in the sun. Kenzo entrusted the weight of his debts and worries to the salt, relying on the hope of a new beginning. Yumi wrote on a piece of paper her loneliness and her fear of the future, asking the ritual to help her find the strength and serenity to face life's challenges. While performing the ritual, the pilgrims experienced a profound sense of liberation. It was as if an invisible weight had lifted from their shoulders, leaving room for a new lightness, a new energy. The cold of the freezer, rather than representing an element of static and death, seemed to emanate a vital energy, a force of renewal. It was as if, by freezing negative emotions, space was free to welcome new sensations, more positive and bright. Tetsuzin, watching his disciples immersed in the ritual, smiled with satisfaction. He knew that this apparently simple gesture would trigger a profound process of transformation in them. The salt, with its ability to absorb and neutralize, would act as a catalyst, helping them to free themselves from the burdens of the past and reconnect with their own inner strength. But the ritual of salt in the freezer was only the beginning of the journey. Tetsuzin led the pilgrims in long meditation sessions, teaching them to observe their thoughts and emotions without judgment, to cultivate awareness of the present moment, to awaken the inner wisdom that resides in every human being. Hannah, during meditation, relived the pain of her unrequited love, but this time, instead of being overwhelmed by sadness, she was able to observe her emotions with detachment, understanding that that pain was part of her, but did not define her. Kenzo, in turn, confronted the fear of failure and the sense of guilt for having jeopardized the well-being of his family. But thanks to Tetsuzin's teachings, he began to glimpse new possibilities, new paths to follow. Yumi, immersing herself in the silence of meditation, connected with the memory of her lost husband, no longer with pain and despair, but with gratitude for the love shared and with the strength to move forward for the sake of her child. The days passed in a slow and regular rhythm, marked by meditation practices, the study of sacred texts and work in the fields surrounding the temple. The pilgrims learned to live in harmony with nature, to appreciate the simplicity and beauty of small things, to cultivate gratitude for each new day. One day, while they were busy gathering firewood in the forest, Hana, Kenzo, and Yumi came across an old fallen tree, its roots exposed to the elements. Tetsuzan, who had been following them at a distance, approached them and explained that those roots, so gnarled and twisted, represented their past experiences, their traumas, their wounds. "Like this tree," said the monk, "you too can draw nourishment from your past experiences, however painful they may have been. Your roots have made you what you are today. They have given you the strength to withstand the storms of life." The pilgrims reflected on the master's words, understanding that the past, even with its shadows, was an integral part of their history, and that they could draw upon it to find the wisdom and strength they needed to face the future. The time spent at the temple flew by, and soon it was time to say goodbye. Hane, Kenzo, and Yumi said goodbye to Tetsuzan with hearts full of gratitude. The salt ritual, the meditation, the master's teachings had transformed their lives, giving them a new awareness, a new strength, a new hope. As they descended the mountain path, the pilgrims turned one last time to look at the temple, which stood out imposingly against the blue sky. They took with them the memory of those magical days, the wisdom of Tetsuzan, and the certainty that, even in the most difficult moments, they could always count on the inner strength they had discovered within themselves. And salt, a symbol of purification and renewal, would continue to protect them along the way.